We were poking around Carrabelle just because we like Carrabelle. We think it's a sweet little town. And we looked at a few properties, and the realtor we met up with called me one day and said, I have a very interesting property that you might be interested in. And boy, was she right. So apparently this property was owned by the city at the time, and for any number of reasons, the city decided they were going to sell it. So we come and we were warned, no electricity, boarded up windows, the whole 9 yards. And with my flashlight, I'm looking around and noticing that all of the moldings were here. And a lot of times in an old house, you see a lot of missing parts that are unique to that house, like the baseboards and the corner pieces and the rosettes on the woodwork. And I'm walking around room after room seeing the woodwork is all here. And I was like, oh, we're in trouble now, I said to my husband, who is not a handy guy. I said, you know, that old house, somebody has to buy that and somebody has to save it, or it's just gonna fall apart. The hardest, physically most taxing component for me was the work on the coffered ceilings in the two main living areas. The panels, about half of them were breached from the wiring thieves. They fell through and there was insulation hanging. So getting up there, even with scaffolding, and working with my head wrenched back to take down pieces of molding, take them and find a lumber place that would order matching moldings, and then I had to stain them all to match before they could go back up. All of this while working overhead, and lots of staining, matching, and oiling, and it was very tedious, but I think it was well worth the effort because they are sort of one of the showcase things about this space. You know, what I love most about this house is hard to pick. I love, love, love all the beautiful old wood. And that was a big draw to me, that all of this now 120-year-old wood is still present and still really beautiful. Of course, the porches. Everybody loves the porches at the Belle. The porches are just a fabulous space, and sometimes when we're here, we kind of use the house to like cook food and sleep in beds, but we live on the porch. So I would have to say the wood, the porches, and last, the privacy at this setting. It's really amazing that this house sits right in town, but it's super private because it's up on a dune and it's woodsy, and frankly, people that live in this community don't even know it's here sometimes. From the time we bought the house till it was, like, I want to say ready to let people come and see, was about 18 months.
The house that's now the Belle has been a really important landmark in town for dozens of years. It was important during the Civil War because that's the location of the only battle that we had during the Civil War, a skirmish that happened here. And it was kind of in terrible disrepair. It made us so sad. And when Martha actually bought it and began to renovate it, we were just so thrilled that a piece of our, most important piece of our history was saved and was being restored lovingly into something that was in period. So what I understand from my son, who's an architect, that the floor does not even squeak. And that is very unusual for an old wooden house. Because it was owned by the leading sawmill owner in the county, he brought in both the lumber and the workmen to give it the very best that could be gotten at that time.
The Belle was just one of the remaining gems of old historic houses in Carrabelle. We don't really have as many historic structures as like Apalachicola. We were a working class town. You know, we're down just a block away in the Carrabelle History Museum, and thinking about that place up there falling apart, you know, I used to sneak up the hill and just bemoan the condition that was going on, and kids had broken the windows out, and I looked up in the attic and there were raccoons staring at me, and You know, it was pretty sad to go over there and just wish that someone would buy it. How we managed, but we petitioned the city to get it before it, you know, was hardly worth saving. And then they flipped it, and Martha and Vince just came like angels from above because they were willing to work and really make that place be what it deserved to be.